Shalom Israel, Shalom. This is Azariah from Watchmen from Israel, giving our honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem HaMashiach Yahweh Shah. Just want to go over some topic about having faith, putting your trust in the Most High, right? Because we know that during these last days, that you will be tried even more each and every day, and you want to be able to, you know, build up your faith, having strong faith in the Most High when you're going through your trials, adversity, and affliction. All right, so let's start with Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Right? So faith is something that you believe in that you have not seen. Right? It's like where we believe in that Yahweh Shah was born, he walked the earth, he healed the sick, he died on the cross, that he was raising up on the third day, and we believe those things. And he's our Lord and our Savior. Right? We believe that by keeping the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Hamashiach Yahweh Shah, that we will make into the kingdom. So that's something, having faith that we have not even seen. Slakia. Let's go to John chapter 20 and verse 24. It said, but Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Yahushua came. The other disciple therefore said unto him, we have seen the Lord. But he said unto them, except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I would not believe. So Thomas said, look, I don't care what you're saying, that you seen the Lord, blah, blah, blah. If I don't see him personally with my own eyes, and put my hand in his nails, and put my fingers in his hand through the nails, and put my hand in his side where he was pierced, I don't care what you're saying, I don't believe. Right? Verse 26. And after 8 days, again, his disciples were within, and Thomas being with them. Then came Yahweh Shah, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst and said, peace be unto you. Then said he to Thomas, reach hither thy finger, and behold my hand. And reach hither thy hand, and thrust it into my side, and be not faithless, but believing. He said, look, now you see me. Now don't be faithless. Don't be weak in your faith, not having faith, but believe. Trust in me now. Believe in me now. Verse 28. Then Thomas Then Thomas answered and said unto him, my Lord and my God. Yahweh Shah said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed. So that's something that faith is. We believe in the Most High. We believe in Yahweh Shah. And we have not even seen him with our own physical eyes. All right? But we feel him in our spirit. That's something that's faith. All right? Let's go back to Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 6. It said, but without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that come to Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So it is impossible to please the Most High without faith. Without faith, you wouldn't even be keeping commandments. All right? You would be out there doing all type of wickedness and folly inside this world, loving the world, and not even believing the Most High. Why you have a shot? All right, let's go to Romans chapter 12 and verse 3. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think. Right? So Most High is saying, don't think of yourself, don't exalt yourself more highly of what you ought to think. Right? Don't go there so prophesy and trying to teach up and try to wake up Jake and teach them that they Israel, and you can't even break down Deuteronomy chapter 28. Right? You can't teach them milk. All right, so it said, but to think soberly according as Yahweh hath dealt to every man a measure of faith. So the Most High deal with you by your faith. All right. So, for example, let's go to James chapter 1 and verse 2. It said, "My brethren, count it all joy when he fall into divers temptation, knowing this, that the trying of your faith the trying of your faith work patience, like you." So the Most High said, count it all joy when you go through these trials and tribulations in life. All right, because the Most High, he chastises his people who he loves. All right, so you want to be able to endure all type of trial tribulation and count it all joy, right, and have patience going through your trials, right? When it's, as it says in Sirach chapter 2, it said you must cleave to the Most High when you come into the faith. When you come to the faith, you will have trial tribulation, and you have to cleave to the Most High and put your trust in Him. All right, so let's go to Romans chapter 14, Slakia chapter 15, and verse 4. It said, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patient and confident of the scriptures might have hope." Right? So we got to look through these scriptures, and see how our forefathers dealt when they was going through their trials and tribulations, all the adversities, and how they deal with their adversaries. All right? Let's get a precept on that. Slakia. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 7. It said, "Remember the days of old. Consider the many years of Consider the many years of generation as thy fathers, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee." Right? So we know that we got to ask our forefathers, and by doing that is by opening up this book, the Bible, and look and see how they went through that trial and tribulation, how strong they kept their faith, the things that they did wrong, and the things they did right. Right? Did they go off? Did they kept their faith? So we gotta learn from them, right? Let's go to Judith chapter 8 and verse 24. And it reads, "Now therefore, O brethren, let us show an example to our brethren, because their heart depend upon us. In the sanctuary, and in the house, and the altar rest upon us." So look, let us show us, like he said, let be an example to our brethren, how to be stronger in the Lord, how to keep the faith of the Most High when we're going through trials and tribulations. So you got to set that perfect example to those that actually listen in and look up to you, and see how that you, right, is keeping the faith and commandments of the Most High. You gotta be a perfect example to the babes that's coming in the truth. Verse 25. It says, "Moreover, let us give thanks to the Lord our God, which try us, even as He did our fathers." So the Most High going to try you as He did our forefathers, right? So we are no greater than our forefathers. The Most High tried our forefathers. He going to try us too. All right? Verse 26. It said, "Remember what things He did to Abraham, and how He tried Isaac, and what happened to Jacob and Mesopotamia, Slakia, if I spelled that wrong, of Syria, when he kept the sheep of Lebanon, his mother's brother." Right? Verse 27. For he have not tried us in the fire as he did them. So he haven't tried us in the fire as of yet. We haven't went through all the trials and tribulations that they went through, right? Not as yet. Right? For the examination of their hearts, neither have he taken vengeance on us, but the Lord do scourge them that come near unto him to admonish them. Right? So the Most High going to try you through all the trials and tribulations, and you got to look upon and see how our forefathers did. All right? They've been through so much trials and tribulation that we haven't even been through. Right? We think about getting fired from our job is a trial and tribulation. No, our people was put to death, man. Our people was going through so much trials and trials and stuff as they was you know, going through that time and that time of that generation, right? Being chastised, being whipped, you know, being put to death by enemies. You know, we haven't been nowhere compared to that time. All right, let's go to Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 10. It said, "If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small." Right? So when you going through your trials, tribulation, and it come upon you, and you just give up, right? It said your faith is small. You have no faith in the Most High, right? So when you going through stuff like that, you got to cleave into the Most High. You can't just give up and say, "All right, I'm done being an Israelite." No, you got to keep on pushing and pushing, enduring to the end. Right? The Most High not looking for no weak men. He looking for men that going to stand up strong in his faith. All right? It's going to push his word into the end. Let's go to Psalm chapter 94 and verse 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers, and who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? So the Most High is looking for mighty men that going to go out here and push his truth, right? Go out there and rebuke the nations, right? Go out there and reprove our people, right? So he said he looking for mighty men. It's men that going to rise up and stand against him, against the workers of iniquity, man. Against all these evildoers out here. Going out there day and day night teaching our people that they Israel, they need to wake up. All right? Because you don't know what type of demons that these people had. And he not looking for people that's going to run and soon they come across some type of Jake or some type of Edomite or other nation heathen that's going to try them, man. You're looking for mighty men that's going to stand up for him. All right, let's go to Sirach. Chapter 4 and verse 28. It says, "Strive for the truth unto death. Even the Lord shall fight for thee, and the Lord shall fight for thee." Right? So the Most High says you got to push your life on the line when you come out here, man. When you are in this truth, you got to push your life on the line every single day. Right? Because you're going to have many demons out here trying to tempt you. Right? You got to strive until death, man. So you got to be built up in the faith. All right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 10 and verse 28. It said, "And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell." So you can't be out here weak in the faith and be scared of, man, of the wicked Jake and the heathens, man. You can't be scared of them. The Most High said, "Fear not them that kill the body." I mean, slacking. The Most High said, "Fear not them that can kill the body, but not the soul." You got to fear the Most High because he's able to kill both the body and the soul. All right? Let's get some examples, man. Let's go to Daniel chapter 3. Now, I'm not going to read the whole chapter, Daniel chapter 3, but if you read Daniel chapter 3, you should know what I'm talking about. But if you have not read Daniel chapter 3 before, I advise you to read so. All right? So, basically, just summarizing them, it's Daniel chapter 3. You got the Babylonian king, Nebuchadnezzar. He set up an image, and he wanted people to bow down every time you hear the music play. Right? He wanted all the Jews and all the other nations to bow down to him. Right? But the Jews, certain Jews that didn't want to bow down, like, for example, let's go to it first. Daniel chapter 1, verse 6. It said, "Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah." Right? So these names, so you had Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. These three men was going through some type of trials and tribulation when they didn't want to bow down to the king Nebuchadnezzar image, right? So Nebuchadnezzar, he told him, look, if you don't bow down to me, it's like you don't bow down to this image that I put up, I'm gonna put you in a fire, and I'm gonna put you to death in a furnace. All right. So let's see what Mishael, Abimelech, Mishael, Hananiah, and Azariah, what they did. Their name was changed to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? Because during slavery, your name's always been changed. All right, let's start with 16. It said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. So look, that's how faithful and that's how trusting in the Most High that these men had. All right, it said, but if not, it's like it said, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So like, even if he don't save us from this fiery flame, the fire, we still ain't going to worship the gods, the idols, the image that you set up. Right? It said, then was, verse 19, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his ventures was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it was wont to be heated. He said, that's turning heat up on these guys, right? For he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning of the fiery furnace. So he got the strongest men to bound them up, right, and to put them aside. It said, then these men were bound in their coats, and their horses, and their hats, and their garments, it's like and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Verse 22. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So the same men that bound them up, they was burnt up in the fire, right? Trying to cast them in. It said, and these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, did we not cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said, O king, they answered and said unto the king, true, O king. Verse 25. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. Right? So let's look. I see 4 men in there. We put 3. What's going on? These people's walking around. Now you were screaming. Now you were being tortured. You walking around like nothing's going on. Right? Verse 26. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. It's like it. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes and governor, and the prince and governor and captains and the king's counselor, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies of the fire had no power, nor was their hair of their head seen, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of the fire, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. So the same way they came in, they came out, and these people was astonished, like, dang, nothing touched these guys. I don't even smell smoke on them. Right? Verse 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servant that trusts in him. See that the Most High deliver you if you put your trust in him. They set a prime example of putting that faith in the Most High until death, right? And the Most High delivered them, right? And have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own, right? So, by looking through these precepts and these storylines, of our ancestors and our forefathers, how they put their trust in the Most High and the Most High delivered them. So we got to do the same in these last days. All right, let's get one more example. If you haven't had read Kings, the 2 Kings, the 6th chapter, I advise you do so. I'm not going to read the whole chapter. Just going to go to the main point. All right, and I start at verse 11. It said, "Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing, and he called his servants and said unto them, Will he not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel. Tell the king of Israel the words that thou spakest by thy bedchamber." Verse 13, and he said, "Go and spy where he is, that I may send forth and fetch him." And it was told him, saying, "Behold, he is in Dortan. Right? So he's like, look, go fetch out Elisha, and see where he at, man. Look, and go get him. Right? So the king of the Syria sent these men out there to go get him. Right? Verse 14, therefore sent he thither horses and chariot and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about. So he said many men of a great host to get Elisha, right? And when the servant of the man, it's like in verse 15. And when the servant of the man of Yahweh was risen early and gone forth, behold, a host compassed the city, both with horses and chariot, and his servants said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? So he told this young man told Elisha, like, whoa, we've been surrounded by many people in chariots and horses. What are we going to do? He was freaked out of his mind, man. He was scared. Right? Verse 16. And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. So he like, fear not, it's like he said, fear not, because we know, we both see how many they are, but even though it's only two of us physically, but it is way more than us spiritually, right? Verse 17, and Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. So look, the Most High sent his angels, man, to go protect Elisha, man, the young man. Right? It said, and when it came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, Smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. So the Most High, he sent his angels, to go down to protect Elisha and the young man. And they smoked them with blindness, man. So you got to be able to put your trust in the Most High that he's going to protect you, right? So you got to be able to know that Most High is going to fight for those who fight for them, right? Let's go to Psalm chapter 34, verse 7. It said, the angel of the Lord encamped round about them that fear him and delivered them. Right? So the angel of the Lord going to send the Lord going to send his angel, right, to go protect you, man. So if you keep the law, statute, commandments, and keeping the faith of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, the Most High is going to protect you in the last days. You got to have faith, man. All right? See another precept on it. Psalms chapter 91 and verse 11. It said, for he shall give his angel charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Right? So the Most High is going to give his angel charge. That's like a commandment to keep you, to protect you in all your ways, man. Everything you do, the Most High is going to protect you. All right? So you got to put your trust in the Most High in your last days, man. Let's go to Psalms 101 and verse 6. It said, "My eyes shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they may, it's like it, that they may dwell with me, and he that walk in a perfect way, he shall serve me." So Most High said that my eyes are upon the faithful people of the land, man. He upon his eyes is watching over his people that keeping his law, statute, commandments, and the faith of Mashiach. All right. So Salakia. Let's go to First Peter, chapter 6. No, Salakia, chapter 1, and verse 6. Wherein he greatly rejoiced through now for a season, if need be, he are in heaviness through manifold temptations. All right, you're going to be tried in many temptations, right? Verse 7, that the trial of your faith being much more precious than of gold that perish, do it be tried with fire, may be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Hamashiach Yahushua. You want your faith to be found honorable to the Mashiach Yahushua. Just like it to Hamashiach Yahushua. Right? It said, who having not seen, he loved, in whom through now he see him not, yet believing, he rejoiced with joy unspeakable and full of glory, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your soul. So you want your faith to be found honorable to Hamashiach Yahushua, man, when you're going through trials and tribulation. All right? Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 12. It said, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 12, it said, fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, whereunto thou art also called, and has professed a good profession before many witnesses. Right? So you want to fight the good fight of faith, man. You want to continue to fight and all the way to the end. Right? So you got to be strong and keep your faith in the Most High, man. Unto Hamashiach Yahushua. Right? So you got to be strong in faith. You can't not be weak, man. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 7. This is what Paul said, man. He said, I have fought a good fight. Right? So Paul said, I have fought a good fight. And so I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Right? Paul, he finished the work that the Most High sent for him, right? He said, look, go teach the Gentiles, the Israelites that was calling themselves Gentiles, and teach them that they are now saved through grace, and tell them to repent and keep the Most High commandments and the faith of Mashiach. All right? So Paul said that he fought the good fight. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith, man. So you want to be like Paul. Paul set a good example, right? Let's go to Hebrews chapter 13. It's like in chapter 12, verse 2. It said, looking unto Hamashiach Yahushua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Yahweh. Right? So Hamashiach Yahushua, he set the perfect example of keeping this faith and enduring the cross, man, despising the shame, all the wickedness of the Israelites. How they betrayed him, they chastised him, they ripped off his beard, they spit on him, they punched him, set a crown of thorns over his head. Right? He fought that good faith, that good fight. He endured the cross, man. He set a perfect example of how you keep the faith and put in trust in the Most High. And he was found perfect, man. And he was blessed by now receiving the right hand of the throne. That's to Yahweh, man. Right? So let's go to Acts. So Hamashiach Yahushua set the perfect example too. Chapter 14, verse 22. It says, confirming the soul of the disciple and exhorting them to continue in the faith, right? So we got to continue. You got to set the example and help your brother out to continue in the faith, right? And that we must do much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of Yahweh, right? So through our faith, we're going to enter to the kingdom, right? We're going to get salvation, as long as we keep the faith of Salakia, of Yahweh Bashan Hawashah, right? Let's go to this last precept, Philippians chapter 3 and verse 5. It says, circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of the Hebrews, as touching the law, a Pharisee, concerning zeal, persecuting the church, touching the righteousness which is in the law, blameless. But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Hamashiach. Right? So he said, all the things that I had, I counted loss for Hamashiach. Yea, verse 8, it say, yea, doubtless I count all things but a loss, Slakia. It said, but doubtless, for I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ. So you gotta suffer everything you do, everything you go through in this world, losing your family, losing your car, losing your job, whatever you go through that you lost. You gotta say, look, I'm doing it just to win Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, man. Keeping my faith until the end, right? Verse 9. And be found in him, not having my own righteousness, which is of the law, but that which is due the faith of Hamashiach, the righteousness which is of Yahweh by faith. Right? So that set a prime example of how the forefathers kept the faith. They fought the good fight. You know, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashan Yahweh Shai, delivered them out of that trouble, man. Right? So they set a prime example of how we should live in this times of this generation. Right? So that's all I have. So hopefully that was edifying. Hopefully that can build up your spirit and see that you got to keep the good. You got to keep the faith through the end, man. All right. So shalom.